Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuc,
David Wynn.
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in every market. Hey, and today, guys, we've got returning guest Rhett Capiello with the Dubuc team and Click and Close Mortgage. Rhett, super excited to have you here. But I got to tell you, man, I'm a little more excited for who you brought along. Who'd you bring on the show today, brother?
Most definitely. I mean, I think we're all excited to introduce this gentleman here. I mean, I call him the Swiss Army knife of real estate needs, be it lot, land, manufactured homes, residential, commercial. This is your guy right here.
He does it all.
Yeah. And if you're looking for a reliable real estate pro who provides services with both integrity and honor, look no further. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Doug Allen. Thanks for joining us, Doug.
Big
Hey, guys.
Doug, what's up?
Welcome
Doing
to the
good.
show. Great stuff, man. Well, Doug, super excited to have you here. And, you know, we always like to do a little get to know you, right? We know who you are, but let's let the audience meet you. So, Doug Allen, what part of the world do you represent?
Well, we're in Central Texas. The easiest way I can explain that is take a map of Texas, put your finger in the middle of it. That's where we are.
There it is. There it is. So
It's
you're
like 800 miles out of the state, which way we go. So we're only about 5 miles or so from the actual geographical center of Texas.
That's wild. What city is that?
Our office is in Early, Texas, but we're actually a suburb of Brownwood, probably a little more known than Early. We're south of Abilene, north of San Antonio, kind of northwest of Austin, southwest of Fort Worth, east of San Angelo. So
There you go.
that's it.
So you take the state of Texas, you grab a dartboard, throw it right there in the middle, and you got bullseye right there.
That's it. And we've worked all over the state, but we try to focus on Brown County and the surrounding 9 counties around us. That's a little more easy to navigate than trying to go to El Paso or Lufkin or who knows where, but we do it all if we have to.
Yeah.
We have great clients all over the state, but we focus right here in Central Texas.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, so you've been doing real estate for how long now?
It's been a little over 14 years now. I started as an agent. Recently, in the last 3 years, I got my broker's license. My wife and I actually just bought the office that we own and work out of, United Country Heart of Texas Real Estate. We did that about 2 years ago or so. We have 4 agents that work for us, and so we're full service, like you said.
Yes, sir.
Our little area is about 50,000 in Brown County, so it's hard to pick a niche market. So we really do it all: commercial, residential, farm and ranch. We have Lake Brownwood just north of town, so we have lake properties that we sell and help people buy.
That's awesome.
We do it all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So whether you're looking for a hunting lease sold, right, where you can get out there and rip around in some 4-wheelers, or whether you want that beautiful lake house, or if you're just getting started and you want to buy a single family home or your final home, you got it all.
Yep, you're right. I'm glad you brought up hunting. This is great whitetail deer country. Yep. People from all over the state, not even out of state, come to this area to hunt whitetail. It's plentiful, and so usually it's no problem, doing a good hunt.
That's great. That's great. So 14 years ago, and so you were a young lad when you got in.
Not really.
So what?
It's probably like definitely my second career.
Yeah.
We actually owned the McDonald's restaurant here in Brownwood for 15 years, and prior to that, I was in Clovis, New Mexico as a manager and regional manager. So I was with McDonald's 27 years before we did nothing for a little while. Opened a little coffee business that didn't actually work the way I wanted it to. The man we went to church with was the broker of the office that we currently own and operate. He recruited me to come on board because of my commercial background primarily, but also because we'd lived here now, 30 plus years we've been in the area. So this is home.
That's great. Well, rookie to entrepreneurship, right? You've been doing this for a long time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's great. And so New Mexico. Now, are you from Texas, New Mexico? Where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
Well, I'm an Air Force brat, so we moved
Everywhere.
around. I was born in Tucson, Arizona. We moved to Kansas,
Fort
right
Riley.
in Tornado Alley. And then actually, as a teenager, I was in Hawaii. So that's rough duty, guys. I mean,
That's it.
that was
Yeah,
the time of my life over there.
I'll bet.
And then we moved to Clovis and I met my bride and totally thrilled. And now we're in Texas.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's awesome. I got to go back to Kansas real quick. Were you anywhere near Fort Riley?
We were at Derby, which is south of
Yep.
Wichita.
That's it. Okay,
I
Derby.
don't know how close to Fort Riley
It's
that
not
is, but
close at all.
okay. That's
Derby's
probably
out
why
there.
it didn't ring a bell.
Yeah, Derby's out there in the middle of nowhere, but they've always had a
Yeah.
good football team out there. I'm from Kansas originally, so you got my attention.
Okay.
My mom used to work on the military base. She was an educator, and she educated there at Fort Riley. So I knew a
Awesome.
lot of military brats growing up, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing though, because it makes you so well rounded. You get really used to being able to get comfortable and adapting to new environments and new people, and probably why you're such a great guy. Part of it.
Well, I think it definitely shaped me personally, just overall, because you do, like you say, you have to adapt and learn about different places, meet different people, make new friends pretty regularly.
Yeah.
I moved between my junior and senior year of high school, so
That's
that ought
tough.
to give you a little.
That's
That ought to
tough.
give you a little bit of how I feel about that. But
I'm not going. That's what I hear. I'm not going,
yeah.
Mom and Dad. You can go. I'm staying here.
Well, I'm glad I did, but
Yeah.
it was a little rough at the time.
I can imagine. Well, you know what? It built character. And, again, just another part of the reason why you're the great guy you are today. So you land
Well,
back
thank
in
you.
Texas and, you do all kinds of great stuff. You serve billions, maybe trillions at this point with McDonald's, right? Uh, and then we get the treat. You come over to the mortgage industry or the real estate industry, and now you're just making waves over here, too.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great. So you got in,
Exactly.
you said 14 years ago, is that right?
Yes, sir. 2010 is when
Yeah.
I actually became an agent.
Yeah, you came in at
So,
the optimal point of real estate, right?
well, I think it's kind of like we are now. It wasn't real optimal,
It
but
wasn't.
I got my feet wet and learned a lot, and then just made the best of it. And I was successful then, even then, and have been every year since. So
Well,
Amen.
it's not all about the market; it's about how you treat people and the services you provide and the friends you make. You treat people like you want to be treated, and your business will grow.
yeah, so let's talk about that. The last couple of years has been unkind to real estate, really, but your production's still up there. You're still doing well. Like you said, the market hasn't really affected you that much year over year. What's your secret sauce?
Well, during COVID, we all wondered if the real estate market would crash.
Right.
And obviously, it did the exact opposite. It just went crazy.
It did.
But since then, interest rates have gone up, which you guys well know about that. That's your business. And it has slowed down the market some, but there's still buyers, there's still sellers. People have to sell, people have to buy, they move, they relocate, they want that dream home. They've had kids, they need a bigger house.
That's right.
They want to do some hunting. They want to live out at the lake. There's lots of reasons still to have a good market, and you just have to present yourself well and stay active. Be in front of people, whether it's through social media or face to face. Or
Right.
our office is actually located right on one of the busiest corners in town, so we have that advantage as well. But it's just about being out there and doing what's right.
Yeah. Well, little do a lot of people know, 2024 is one of the biggest purchase markets in history. If you look at it dollar for dollar, over the last couple of decades, we actually have an affluence a market in the purchase side of things. And some people don't realize that. Refinance is obviously way down. It's not a great time to refi. But buying homes has not stopped. We have seen a little shift with investors, picking up more of that property. But at the end of the day, this has actually been a good purchase here. So agents like yourself, Doug, that understand that and get out there and do what it takes to find that business, you guys are still having success. What I'd really like to know is if we take a time machine back 14 years ago, when you first got started in 2010, which I know that market, I got started in 2002. It was a difficult market. People didn't know what they could lend on, and we were just coming out of a crisis. How did you build that business? How did you start off with a bang? You said you had good success back then. What'd you do? If a tip for somebody out there that wants to know.
Well, I think listings are key. That's what you've got to really build your business on, and our company is super about that. They have lots of tools and things that I was able to utilize and learn about and make good. And so that was how I kind of focused, tried to really get some listings. Once you get some listings under your belt, then eventually you're going to have a sale, you're going to make some money. And then as you do that, you make friends with the buyers, you make friends with the sellers, and then they can refer you people. And so a lot of our business now is referral, but it starts there, I think, just as, trying to get FISBOs or
Okay, that's what I was going to
just
ask.
being out there
Yeah.
to help people.
So how do you get those listings is the question I was going to ask you. And I think you just answered it partially. You said, you got to learn how to get FISBO. So let's talk about that. I'm a new age of getting started. I'm in this market. Some people are, doom and gloom. Others like yourself are saying, hey, this is a great market. How do I get out there and find those listings? What's a great piece of advice on that?
Well, you got to do it afraid. I was scared to death the first time I walked up to a house that had a for sale sign in the yard by owner. And I parked on the street and I walked up to the front door, knocked on the front door. And what do you know? I knew the people that were selling the house. So I didn't know they lived there, but I had actually substitute taught for a little while, and it was a teacher that lived there.
Yeah.
And I had substitute for her class. So, that was just one example of just doing it afraid. That was my first FISBO, and ever since then, it's like, well, the answer is going to be yes, I'll do something with you, or no, or let's talk about it some more. So, why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
It's all in numbers. You're going to get no's in this business, just like any business. Every question you ask is not going to come back with a yes, but when the next no is the next place to the next yes. So you just have to keep plugging along and not get hung up on the no's.
Well, a band after my own heart. We've got a little slogan over here: celebrate the no's, right? Because the no's lead you closer to a yes. And I don't know if you can see my shirt here today, but it says "Just Ask," right? And that's what we're talking about, right? When you're in an industry like we are, we have to ask the question, right? And at the end of the day, if you're afraid to ask, you might be in the wrong industry.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you bring that up, because when I first started, one of the main things that I was taught was if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
My man.
So you just got to ask, like you say, just ask.
Well, Doug, as successful as your business is, what keeps you up at night about your business?
Honestly, I sleep pretty good.
That means you got a very good business.
I think, market-wise, the interest rates got to come down a little bit for people to be able to really get back in the market. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Some people are in the market, but, there's a lot of people out there with cash still. I'm just amazed. Where do they get all this cash from? But as far as people financing, if the interest rate had come down another point, probably, I think a lot of people would be back in the game.
Yeah.
Just to be able to qualify and to be able to get a home that they want to live in.
That's right.
So interest rates are important. The election's going to be important. Every election cycle that we go through right before November, however many months out, everybody's kind of hanging on to see what's going to happen. So, and I'm not saying that keeps me up at night, but I think for the market to get real active again, we've got to get past November. We need to get a little break on interest rates.
Well, I think, the media breeds a lot of that. And the problem is a lot of the times we're getting, bad information because, while that is why a lot of people are waiting, what and what we know is that, when the rates are a little bit higher, sellers have a little bit more pressure to move the house and they're willing to negotiate, and if we remind this back to to COVID, FHA and VA offers weren't even being accepted. A lot of it was only cash offers and people were coming in way over with the bid. So, the savvy buyer that says, hey, I need to sit back and wait for the rates to come down is not so savvy, right? Because the reality is if you get in and buy now, you're getting a great price point. The homes are appreciating right now. On average, I said last month, the year over year was over 6% in the United States today, right? So they're already starting to build equity. They bought the house cheaper. They pay a slightly higher rate. And when the rates come down, they get to refinance, right?
Sure.
But the folks that are holding tight, unless it's because they can't qualify, and we get that, right? That's a real problem in America today, and we have a solution for it that allows them to buy those rates down. But again, it's hard to get that audience when the popular opinion today is you need to wait, right? That's the popular opinion. And
Right.
so I think, we've got a tough racket because when you start to talk like that, people tend to go, oh, he's just a salesperson. He's trying to sell me, and it's no, we're trying to inform you, to help you make the right decisions, because guess what the investors are doing? Doug, you know what the investors are doing.
They're buying up what they can and
That's it.
trying to do creative financing and all sorts of things. So
Exactly. No, I love it. So flash forward to today, and you've got four agents that work for you. Your wife and you just purchased the brokerage, and how's that team operate? What does that look like?
well, I've got some full-time agents. I've got some part-time agents. That's pretty normal.
Yep.
Some of them are fairly new, so getting started in the business is always a little rough. It's nice when they have a little side income so that they can not feel like they are up at night worrying about how they're going to pay their bills.
Yeah.
But we've sent them all through our class in Kansas City. United Country does they do about 3 of these classes a year. And they're all about real estate and how to manage your business and how to get leads and how to list property and how to use the tools that are involved. And we've sent all of those agents to that class, so they're prepared. They know what to do. They're very good. All the agents have a great work ethic and are good people. They're good people, and so they're going to be successful. But that's kind of how it works. There's some that work more than others. There's some that work in the office. There's some that work out of the office.
Yeah.
I'm not a helicopter broker. I want people to think on their own, and I'm there if they need me. I definitely lead, guide, and direct in the right direction if I see them going off to the side or something. But I want people to feel like they can do this and they can make it happen. So that's kind of how our brokerage works. We do have a physical office. Everybody has a desk that they can come to and use. I don't charge a desk fee for that. We handle all that through commission splits, but that's the way our brokerage works.
Well, what I heard you say is, we've got a great training program. We get them set up with that, and we'll definitely give them the tools to create success. But I empower my people by hiring the right people that are gonna have the motivation to get up and get the work done. And I think that's so smart because it's often that businesses just kind of take whoever they can get. And at the end of the day, they're not finding those people that are go-getters who are going to get out there and get it done, and you said,
Right.
hey, I'm not going to be your helicopter, but I'm certainly going to provide you the tools for success.
Exactly.
And it's up to you to make it drive, right? You got to get behind that wheel and make it go.
And I always look for people that have the morals too. I don't want anybody in it just for the money.
Amen.
I mean, this is a people business. If we take care of the folks that we represent, then they're going to take care of us.
You mentioned that earlier. You said that in the very beginning. You said when I got started 14 years ago, it was about building relationships. And through those relationships built the business that I have today. And I think that's such a smart thing because so many people, think this is just about a quick buck or a quick dollar. And they're misinformed. The people that are truly having success in this industry are here because they're building relationships and serving their communities. And
Absolutely.
it sounds like that's the mission that you have as well. Am I correct, Doug?
Yes, that's correct. Our tagline is "You have a friend in real estate," and that's what we try to be, as a friend to somebody that needs help with real estate, whether they're selling or buying or
Yeah.
renting or doing investments, whatever it might be.
I don't know why, but when you said that, all of a sudden I saw like the Woody hat and like the sheriff's badge, right? You've got a friend in
Yeah,
me. And I immediately I felt like you were one of my buddies,
Yeah.
that I'd known for a long time.
right.
What a great phrase. Like, I love that. I
Well,
absolutely love that.
Thanks.
well, Doug, as a broker, are you ever going to lay it down and not be productive or a producing broker?
Hang up the Spurs
Hang
shirt.
up the Spurs,
Um,
sit in the background? Because I know right now you do a lot of transactions yourself.
sure. Um, I'm not opposed to that, but my agents would have to do a lot more volume before I could step out and not be a producing. Um, from my background, I mean, that's really what I've always done, or not maybe always, but the biggest part of my background has been helping to manage others to do what we need them to do or what they need to do. So, I'm not going to say that I would never do that, but things would have to be a little different before I could step out of being producing.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier you and your wife bought the business. Is she in the business with you? Does she sell real estate as well?
No, she's not a licensed agent, but she's an accountant by trade. So I have a big plus there on helping keep the office the way it's supposed to be as far as the books go, and making sure that we're taking advantage of the tax situation and that we get our income tax filed correctly. And she went to school to be an accountant, so she's got more knowledge than most people do in that area. So that's what she does for us, and she supports me, of course.
Sure.
We do a lot of things together. We'll go show property together. It's kind of cool because if there's a lot of times you'll show property to a man and a lady, husband and wife, and it's nice to have her there because she can talk to the wife different than I can talk to her. So,
Sure.
not that she talks real estate, but there's just the camaraderie, being a friend, showing that we care.
That's it. Well, Doug, now we know why you sleep so well at night, because you've got your wife back there managing that money, and she's taking care of you. She's going to put that
That's
cash
right.
away, make sure you guys are set up for the future. And
Yeah.
man, that's awesome, and it's special that you get a chance to live your life that way. And what's your wife's name, Doug?
Her name is Debbie.
Doug and Debbie.
We'll be married 47 years in October.
Congrats. That's a lot. That's a lifetime.
Just getting started.
Yeah. That's what we hope. She's a real blessing. We're both blessed, and
Amen.
we're glad to be together and found each other. And that's why I thank the Air Force, because if it hadn't been for my dad being in the Air Force, I'd have never gone to Clovis, New Mexico, and then I never would have met her. So there's good to everything that happens, right?
How's that
Just gotta
story
look
go?
for it.
So you're in Clovis, New Mexico, and you guys just bump into each other where? How'd that story go?
Well, back in the 70s, some of you may know that lots of the kids drug Maine in their cars, just drive up and down the street, up and down the street.
I do.
In Clovis, it was about 13 blocks of driving up and down the street. And one of my friends knew one of her friends, and we pulled them over to talk. And that's when I first met her. She said she doesn't remember that, but I do.
You were on a mission.
And then I was with the wrong friend. She didn't really like that friend. So anyhow, she didn't remember me from that. But then later we started dating and got married, and here we are.
What kind of car were you in?
That's what I was thinking too.
Let's see. That night we were probably in my friend's Cutlass.
Okay.
Probably like I don't know what he was. Probably
Oldsmobile Cutlass
70.
for you youngsters out there. They don't make them anymore.
Exactly.
But everybody had them back in the day.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
I had a '68 Chevelle.
Of course you did.
And then later a '69 Thunderbird. So that's what I had when we were
You're a
married.
car guy, Doug. I can hear it already. What do you drive today?
I drive a 2020 Chevy pickup that's totally wrapped out with real estate.
Yeah.
Very
Well, you
good.
got to show
Everybody knows
those
sees me coming.
those properties, and you got to be able to get out there in the elements.
Well, and it's a great tax break too, because it's a continual advertisement. So, we take most of the miles off, and most of the expenses off the truck. So
So
and
Doug
it's
figured
good.
it out, right? So basically, most of us have to go to our wife and say, "Hey, I want to wrap the truck," and they go, "We ain't doing it. You're not spending that money." Instead, Doug's wife comes to him and says, "Hey, you got to wrap the truck because we got to write this off."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Man, that you know what's funny is I've got a wrap on my truck, and I think I need to add the logos now. It looks like Devin needs a tax write-off. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, that's amazing stuff. So, wife's in the business. You guys are just living your best life. Any advice out there for the agents today? We talked FSBOs a little bit, but if I'm trying to find business right now and I'm struggling, right? What do you suggest? How do we get out there and do that?
Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of online business now. If you're not active on social media, you're missing out.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You'd never think that you could do a deal through Facebook,
Yeah.
not meet the people until closing and close the deal. That's happened.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day,
Right.
But it has happened. And I think you got to be active on social media. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, people don't like to put their face out there and
That's right.
say things and do video and all that stuff. So that's one thing. You got to be active in your community. People have to know who you are.
That's right. Yeah.
And then there's a lot of lead sources. I mean, if you need I say an easier route, it's not really easier because you still have to do the work, but there's a lot of lead sources out there that can help you, no money down, pay when you close. Those are some good options for new people that really are struggling to find somebody.
Yeah.
Get hooked up with a good lead company. They'll help you.
Yeah. How about pick up the phone and call everybody you know and let them know what you do?
Well, you definitely got to do that. I kicked myself a couple times already. I almost lost $1 million deal because I didn't stay in contact with a previous client.
Yeah.
I did. I thought I was, but
Right.
it wasn't enough. And she actually tried to contact another agent, and thankfully that agent didn't pick up the phone.
Oh boy.
So
Yeah.
there's back to the phone thing. You got to answer your phone.
That's it.
But thankfully that agent didn't answer, so she called me. So she remembered me, but for some reason didn't call me to begin with. And I helped them buy that $1 million property. So
they say that 70. Yeah. Woo, let's go. They say 74% of the people out there go with the first person they talk to. Right. So, at the end of the day, what does that tell you? If you don't answer the call, they're probably going to pick up and call the next person. If they answer, you got a 36% chance that you're 26% chance you're going to get them back. Right. So answer the phone, but more importantly, make sure you're making the phone calls too. That's one thing that we talk about here. We've got a very specific statements, touch the lead, touch the partner. Anytime we touch our client, we touch the agent, but we call our database at least once a quarter. We make sure that they physically hear from us, right? We think it's important to say thank you and, hey, just thinking about you. And if there's anything we can do, because, you could send the mailer, but, that doesn't mean they're thinking about you. You could send an email, you could send a text message, but man, when they know you think about them enough to pick up the phone and give them a good call, we found that just generates, a lot of confidence in, hey, when I do business, I'm going to do business with these guys because they care about me.
good point. Good advice.
Yeah. So you talk about, a relationship building business. That's what it is. It really is what it is.
Yeah. If you don't build good relationships, I mean, even in a transaction, you've got to have a good relationship. And if it's not good at the end, they say over the lifetime of a client, you could lose 7 deals or do 7 deals if you keep the right communication and have the right relationship with them.
Well,
that's a lot of money if you can do 7 deals with one client over, 20 years or whatever.
Well, a lot of people say, talk about, you're supposed to keep in touch with your past client database. Not that they're going to do a transaction, but think about all the people they know, friends, family members, and coworkers. That's how you get your 7 deals. It's not like that person's doing 7 deals. It's just their sphere of just you being relevant. That's what
activating their sphere.
That's what our coaches teach us, and it goes on both sides of the fence, not just loan officers, but also realtors. That's why it's so important to get in front of your past client database.
I love working with you so much. Hey, who else do you know that I can help out and give that same service? I'd love to help your friends. Your family.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love it. Well, I think this is that point in the podcast where we always like to hit a good question. So, Dave or Rhett, who wants to fire off our podcast question today?
I'll do it. Obviously, you've had a long tenure in the real estate, and you've had a ton of transaction. But what's that one transaction that meant the most to you? What's that one transaction that you said, man, this is why I'm in real estate, not McDonald's franchise anymore. This is my new career. This
It's
is
my calling.
This is my
why I'm
calling.
going to do this.
This is why I do this.
Yeah.
What's that one trend? Because I know you've had several, but what's the one that really comes to mind?
Well, I think it's not maybe just one, and I'm not avoiding your question, but it's really helping other people.
Mm-hmm.
When we had the restaurants, that was probably the greatest blessing, and also at the same time, the worst curse is the people of the business.
Mm-hmm.
But in the restaurant, if you hire a 16-year-old and they can't look at the customer across the counter, and you mold them and teach them, and then 6 months later they're this blossom that has come out of their shell and can talk to people now and can look at people. That was always a huge blessing to me. Yeah. So if I transfer that over to real estate, when people are looking for probably one of the biggest investments of their lives, whether it be a home or a ranch or a lake property or a business property or whatever, and I have the ability to actually help them to achieve that end goal, whether it be through showing 20 homes or visiting 6 ranches or going to 15 lake properties, whatever. It's a satisfaction to me that I've helped that person do what they want to do. Or on the sell side, obviously, it works the same way. Yeah. Somebody's got to sell for whatever reason it might be. They want to move. They need to downsize. They, would rather have a different property in some other part of Texas or the world. And I'm able to help them get that transaction done. Then that's the people part of it is what I get most satisfaction from. And you get to do that with every transaction. You work with people every transaction.
Just a gift that gives again and again and again and again.
I love being out in the field. I was an Eagle Scout as a teenager, and boy, if I could go out and show ranches all day long, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
I love getting the four-wheeler out and driving people around on property and seeing all the things that, as a regular person, you'd never see like you do as a real estate agent. Yeah. I remember one property that we showed, and it had a remnant of a railroad track that used to run between Brownwood and Brady. Of course, that line's been closed off for 80 years or 60 years or something, but there it was. And it was just a part that, had I not shown that property and been able to get on that property, I never would have seen it because it was not visible from the road. And so those things are cool. It's
historical.
A little quick story that has to do with a property that one of my agents sold to a guy, and then a few weeks later, this man that bought the property found a gravesite on that property. It was not disclosed when he bought it. The agent didn't know about it. He didn't know about it. But then the cool thing is that gravesite was actually related to my wife.
Whoa.
Like, I think he was like a great-great-grandfather or something that we had found on Ancestry and knew he was buried in the Zephyr area, but always wanted to go to the gravesite and kind of check out the gravestone, whatever.
Yeah.
But we never would have found that because it was actually physically on some land that was owned by an individual. And so now we know right where it is, and we've been invited out to check it out. So it's kind of cool. I mean, those are all cool things that happen in real estate.
Yeah. That's pretty wild, man. What a great story.
Yeah.
What a great story. Well, Doug, brother, man, you're just a special kind of awesome. What a great guy. We truly appreciate you coming on here today. We know you're busy and you got a lot going on in your life, and you took time to be here and share your story with us. And thank you so much for that. Is there anything we didn't tackle today that we should have covered?
I think we've talked about a lot of things, and I'm thankful for the interview and the chance to be with you guys. I don't know that there's anything else specifically. I could probably go on with other stories all day long, but like you said, we're all busy.
Right now, right? Get the s'mores out.
So, no, I think you've done a good job, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
Oh, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. Well, when the folks out there want to find you, we know where you're at. You're right smack dab in the middle of Texas. Early Texas, right outside of Brownwood. But how do they get a hold of you when they want to work with you or somebody on the team? What's the best way to get a hold of Doug Allen?
Well, I'll give you my cell number first, 325-647-3254. Our office number is 325-643-1515. Email's fairly simple. It's Doug at TX, as the abbreviation for Texas, the dash symbol, and then agent, AGENT.com. So you can contact me there, text messaging, calling, whatever on the cell phone. And then our office site, we have two, but the main one I would say is www.central-texas-real-estate. Real estate is all one word, .com.
There it
And
is,
that'll
guys.
get you right to our office website.
Yep. And if you didn't have time to write all that down, just watch right about the bottom of the screen and you saw it just run right by, or run over to the description if you're listening in, and we're going to have all that there for you so you can connect with Doug, get you out there, find yourself the right piece of land if you're trying to hunt. If you're looking for a new property, he's going to have you covered on that. It doesn't matter what it is. Give this gentleman a call. Him and Debbie are going to take great care of you. And, again, Doug Allen, guys, so great having you here today. Mr. Capiello.
Yeah, I just want to say it's truly been a pleasure. I mean, we're gonna talk about you after this all closes down, and we found out some very interesting stories about you. So it was great getting
But that's
to
a
know you
different
more.
podcast.
Yeah, but it was really great getting to know you and some of the insight you've given us too. And obviously, your wife helps out with a lot with what you do. You can't do this all by yourself,
Yeah.
But I really meant what I said. You are the Swiss Army knife, so. I'm sure we'd love to hop on the four-wheeler with you and go,
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
check out some of those
I'll take my
properties in the
Raptor out
land.
there and we'll drive that out
That's
there.
a great idea. He just got a new Bronco. It's
did.
an opportunity to do something like that. But
Yep.
yeah, and I really do look forward to coming down and seeing you someday. So
Awesome.
I
Be
really
glad to show
I'm
you
up for
around.
that. Yeah, well, right. So where is Early? What is the
Well, it's
intersection?
Brownwood. So he's Brownwood. He told us right in the center of Texas.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Early. What's Early off of?
So there's we intersect at four highways, Highway 377 and 183, which is also 84, and then 67's in there somewhere also.
Yep.
So we have four highways that run right past us and into Brownwood or vice versa. Yeah, a lot of people come up from Austin on 183 and they drive right by our office. We're at the corner, the first stoplight you come into town on coming from Austin. We're right there at the corner by City Hall and the police station and the elementary school. So it's real hard to miss us at that corner. 377 runs between Fort Worth and San Angelo, I guess, or somewhere down there. Brady, excuse me. And then I guess 67 goes over to San Angelo. 84 continues on up to Abilene. So those are the highway intersections that we're at. So that might help some folks figure out exactly
John,
where
put
we
a
are.
map up there on camera. That way they can see exactly where this gentleman is located. So we'll put a little X marks the spot, and they'll be able to find you real easy, and they should, because, again, you're doing great things out there. So, Rhett, when the folks out there want to find you, brother, how do they find you?
Well, you can call me at any time, 469-405-1978. It is my work number, but it'll also go to my cell phone, and we have an incredible CRM that I will certainly not miss your call by any means. So,
Hey, and full disclosure, Rhett works here with Click and Close Mortgage on the Dubuc team. So if you're reaching out to him, we're going to make sure you get great service too. And that's on the mortgage side. So if you're wondering what we do mortgages, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. In every state, we're in, except for, New York. We can't help you out. But 49 states, we got you covered.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. We're here to help anytime, just like Doug.
We are. All right.
Well, I give them a quick plug. They've been great. They do great follow-up, easy to communicate with. I'm looking forward to doing some deals with y'all.
Thank you, sir. We
You're
appreciate
too kind. You're too kind. Thank you, Doug. Dave, anything you'd like to say to our guests before we let him get out of here today?
Well, all I know is if I'm looking in Central Texas, I'm sure he covers a lot of ground. Doug's a good old boy, down to earth gentleman that sounds like he can tell you a lot of stories if you need a packet lunch and hours and hours of fun. So if you're looking for real estate down there in early Texas or Brownwood, call Doug. He's your man. There's no one else to call.
There it is, guys. All right.
Thanks,
well,
Dave.
we're your real estate success partners. I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm David Wynn.
If you want to check us out, come on over to realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. But you know, it's way cooler when you come over to YouTube and check us out at the Dubuc team. That way you get to meet Doug live in person, or you can find us on all of our handles, the Dubuc team at Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're all over the place, or come to the website. So podcast is on there too. So until the next time, we'll see you then, folks.
See you guys.